Well, I don't know exactly where to start with this story today. It's going to be a difficult one, but we'll just get down to the nitty-gritty of it all. No brushing the teeth, no put on the makeup, no fancy earrings. You got what you got to see. I'm not in the mood for that sort of thing. I guess we'll start with, I just finished eating my ham sandwich, went to the kitchen and said, I think I'd like to have something sweet. Well, it so happened the day before, which was yesterday, I went to the grocery, and you're familiar with the Marie Callender desserts, those big pecan pies and apple pies, and in this case it was, what did she call it? Chocolate satin pie. Now, if you're a chocolate eater, that's all you need is somebody to say that. You know it's got to be good. And it was on sale half price. How could I resist? I had to buy one. It was in a big box, big, thick box. And, of course, inside it was all wrapped up nice in plastic and had a plastic cover on it, so to protect it till I got home with it. All right, I pulled that chocolate satin pie out, and it looked really good. It had a lot of whipped cream and little tiny tidbits of chocolate. It looked good. So I cut myself a piece, a small piece. It's what I'd call a small piece. I'll show you what it looked like. There you go. And I almost dropped it. That would put the icing on the cake if I'd done that when you get through hearing my story. Okay. I cut me a small slice of chocolate satin pie. Can't wait to start on it. Put the cover back on the pie and was putting it back in the refrigerator. And my refrigerator was pretty full, so I'm having to set it on top of something else on one of the shelves. And just as I started to close the door, it happened. The pie slid off the shelf, started down the front of the shelves to the floor, just as the door was closing. The lid came off of the pie. It turned upside down. Oh, you know what I mean. Let's see, how much worse can that be? Oh, the door closes on half of the pie, which means you had chocolate and whipped cream underneath the door. It also pushed that pie up against that grill, you know, that vent at the bottom of your refrigerator. Yeah, kind of. Well, let's say this is the vent. It slammed right against that, went right into that vent. Yeah. Can we make it any better? Oh, of course, there was that was left on the floor under the vent. I had that mess to clean up. Where are the Merry Maids? I don't know if I need the fire department or the Merry Maids, because I'm not sure how much damage I'm going to do when I start having to clean up this mess. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that before, but nobody can do it better than I can. I'll check my paper towels. Do I have enough paper towels? Do I have a whole roll? I'm going to take a whole roll of paper towel, clean up this mess. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous because I'm having to bend down to the floor. I know I'm short, but I can't sit on the floor and then get back up again, and that's what I needed to do. Why wasn't somebody around to help me? No, I didn't need that. No, I sure didn't need anybody around to listen to me, because this tongue can start wagging when I get into a situation that I'm not sure I can handle, because I don't have the energy for one thing. I've got the strength, but I can't bend down on my knees and start cleaning up that mess. I was pulling out paper towels, three at a time, dampened them a little bit, and I was wiping. I was going under the door, and every time I let go of the door handle, it would close on me. Well, that didn't help matters a bit. It just kind of, well, let's just say it just smoothed that good chocolate pie right in between the door and the vent and the shelves. I didn't know how much went under the refrigerator, but I was sitting there just imagining the family of bugs that were going to enjoy my chocolate pie. They were probably just sitting back waiting for me to get finished so they could take over. Yeah, I could see it. Now, that's when I'm not a happy homemaker. But it's to everybody else's advantage that I'm home alone. They can't hear what I'm saying. Doesn't matter whether I say it out loud or whether I whisper it. I gotta get it out of my system. So I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy this chocolate pie as much as I thought I was. Because every time I look at those little chocolate chips on top, I'm going to wonder if what's left in that pan, and I left it in the pan, put the lid back on. It's sitting in the sink, waiting for me to clean up the rest of the mess. But I will say one thing, it's been a while since that vent at the bottom of the refrigerator's been cleaned, and it needed it. Yeah, that's just one of those little mistakes you make sometimes. And I knew that you'd be reminded too of what you did one time. Now I can go on from there, on and on. About the time I almost cut my thumb off. About the time I almost cut the end of my finger off. Now, you look at that finger, you wouldn't even know. Oh, I can get it where you can see it good. You wouldn't even know there's a scar all the way around, all the way back to the fingernail. My fingernails need polishing. Yeah, you can tell that. Anyway, I had a big bread knife, and I was trying to get this plastic bag open, and it wouldn't open, so I took the end of that bread knife and punched. And when I did, see this finger right over here? When I did, that bread knife went, let's see if I can find something here I can demonstrate with. Okay, I'll just use my nail clippers. Let's say this is the end of that blade, serrated braid. And there I am, and that knife slipped, went under the finger and sliced all the way to the fingernail. Whoa, I thought it was going to fall off. Well, when do you think that happened? Sunday afternoon. What do you get done on Sunday afternoon in an emergency? Not many things, but they had those emergency clinics. Well, I called Jan, and she's like 30 miles from me, but her daughter Jessica was in town. She said, I'll send Jessica over. So Jessica comes, and I'm sure enough, I've got blood running down my arm. And I got it white washcloth, and I wrapped it real good, and I said, we've got to get this fixed. End of my finger was going to fall off. Well, Mom says there's an emergency clinic on Tate Creek, somewhere out there. We'll go there and see if they can't do something so that the finger can be repaired. It's going to take stitches. We go out there. It's supposed to close at 7:30. It was about 5 minutes to 7. They're locked up tight. No emergency clinic there. Well, I really didn't want to go to the ER at the hospital because, that's pretty darned expensive just for the end of a finger. I don't know if it was worth it or not. So we just go to the drugstore. And she goes down the aisle getting the Band-Aids, the tape, the squishy stuff that you got to spray on your finger, whatever else. More bandage, and anyway, we had a bag full of materials to repair this little finger here. I didn't know that little finger was worth that. We get back home, and she has to do the work because I can't work one-handed. So she takes care of it, and she cleans it, and she sprays it, and then she starts wrapping the gauze around it and the cover for it. And she said, now I'll come back tomorrow, and we'll redress it, make sure it's doing okay. Of course, we had to pull the end of my finger down so that line where it cut across met together real good and tight, because we didn't want to have to go to the hospital and get stitches. Well, she took care of it. She did a good job. And after a few days, I was able to dress it myself. After a few weeks, I'm thinking it's not healing fast enough. I should be able to take this bandage off. So I go to the doctor's office, and I said, will you take a look at my finger? And the nurse, or whoever she was, took a look at it and undressed it. Looked pretty good. Everything looked pretty closed up. And she asked what I had used. I told her. And she said, well, we're not going to do that. She comes over with her little tube, and she puts glue. That what we used to call airplane glue. When I was a kid, we played with model airplanes, and that's the kind of glue. So she just dotted that real good with glue, and it dried. And I'm telling you, you take a look at this finger. Can you see this finger real good? You can't even see where it was right along there. I thought we did a pretty good job on that. But I'll tell you what, it's a scary situation when you start dealing with these chef knives and bread knives and things. I think it's probably worth going out to eat rather than preparing your own meals. So, I knew you'd want to hear about my little accident today. It's comparable to anything I do. When I make a mess, I make sure I make a big mess. And by the time I get through, I'm ready to go to bed. So, watch yourself in the kitchen. Make sure you got plenty of room in your refrigerator for all that extra food you bought. But the main thing I went to the grocery for was my Dr. Peppers. I was completely out of Dr. Peppers and bread. Well, do you know, when you go to the store for something like that, it can end up costing you $100. And it takes forever to unload all that stuff, along with your Marie Callender's satin chocolate pie. Well, this is all of the chocolate pie I'm going to be eating. I happened to get it cut off before it fell out of the refrigerator. And I know it's going to be months. I'm still going to be wiping up chocolate pie. Do you like my story? Do you do things like that? Oh, I know you're all anxious to tell me a story better than that one. But this one's going to have to do you for today. So keep watching. I'll be staying right in here with you. And next time I'll wear my earrings.